No, because you're early this morning, so it's not really get any update from where we were last night. Obviously, we're just getting our bits and pieces together and getting ready to train.
And Antonio and Kurt Zouma struggling with illness.
Mm-hmm.
Any news on whether that's improved at all?
Well, look, Antonio's a little bit better. He's a bit better. Kurt had a wee bit felt about the sniffles, so we'll need to see how he is as well. I've not had a chance to see him this morning, but hopefully they'll have a chance.
Defensively, potentially a little bit stretched this weekend because Thilo's struggling with a bit of a knock as well.
Yeah, but the Thilo situation was probably more that was, we took precaution on Thilo more than anything. We hope that he's going to be fine. We expect him to be okay.
And no Maxwell Cornet this weekend, but potentially could feature against Liverpool.
Difficult. He's had a small calf strain, and obviously, it can sometimes you can get rid of them quite quickly. Sometimes they don't. So we've got to be careful with him. But obviously, he's not available for the next game, and that's Southampton.
You spoke in the immediate aftermath of last night's game, and since then we've learned that 4 police officers were injured last night, and Anderlecht have officially apologised as well. I guess it's just not what we want to be seeing at football grounds.
No, we don't. We certainly don't. We don't want the police officers getting injured. That's for sure. So, I think we spoke enough about it last night. I don't think we need to give it any more time. But obviously, I totally understand that. If police officers are getting injured, that's not good, and it's certainly something we don't want.
In terms of matters on the pitch, 4 wins in a row now. How pleased are you with how the side's progressing, but gelling as well at the moment? I'm
really pleased. We've got a little bit of something going again. We're back winning, and and getting myself. And that's the most important thing. I'm still looking for improvements in different areas and different parts of the game at different times. So I think there's room for that to get better as well, which is a good sign. But always in football, winning will always be the most important thing, and hopefully we can keep that going.
And this weekend you take on Southampton, who have lost their last 4 matches, but every game, all the recent games between the two of you seem to have been really competitive.
Yeah, I think Southampton over the years we've had a couple of years where we've done quite well against them, and then recently they've done quite well against us. So I think that it's like that. But I think the Premier League at the moment, as I say probably most weeks in the press conferences, I think that the games are very tight. Very difficult to make assumptions of exactly how the games are going to go, and there doesn't look as if there's an awful lot between a lot of teams. There's obviously 3 or 4 at the top who are very good, but then after that, maybe on any day any one team could win.
And finally, Ralph Hasenhüttl, nearly 4 years at the helm at Southampton. There's been plenty of high moments and some difficult ones as well. How do you assess his time in the Premier League so far?
Well, I'd be the wrong man to ask about Southampton or Ralph Hasenhüttl. That would be something which you'd ask other people. But overall, he's a very experienced manager. He's had some great successes with Southampton. So we'll have a difficult game against them. We always have had.
Thanks, David.
Hi, David.
Hi there.
Another win on a big European night yesterday. How excited are you so far with your European campaign, 2nd season in a row?
Really pleased, because I think we've probably played as many games, if not more, than MD in Europe as far as qualifiers. Obviously, we got to semi-final last year. We had all the group stage games. So yeah, I think for us being relatively newcomers to it in the last couple of years, we're making a pretty good go of it. Obviously, we'd have liked to have got to the final, and we'll do everything we can this year to try and have a really good run in the Conference League as well. So I've said to the players, every cup competition we're in, we want to try and have a go at winning it. We feel as if that we're a good side, and on our day we could match most teams.
Jarrod Bowen, how do you think you personally were able to help and support his progress and development, and what do you think are the next steps for him?
Well, I think getting real consistency. I think he's maybe just started a little bit slower, but I think he's back close to his form now. Looks as if he's going to score. He's more in situations where he's going to create goals as well at the moment. And generally, I think he's feeling much better and probably in a better condition now than he was even right at the start. I think it was difficult for a lot of players to come back after the length of the season last year, also international games. But Jarrod looks as if he's coming back into good form.
In terms of Southampton this weekend, what did you make of their season so far? It feels like you're still trying to figure out their rhythm, their identity.
Who's Southampton? Not my job to figure out their rhythm or their identity. My job's to to get a good rhythm here at West Ham. Make sure we're trying to improve on our identity while bringing in new players. So Southampton's not my department.
And those 2 wins in a row domestically in the league, how pleased were you to finally get that deserved reward?
Yeah, well, I think that we needed it. We knew, we're not daft, we needed to get a couple of wins. We got them, but we felt there was some mitigating circumstances at the start of the season why maybe we were a little bit behind it. But ultimately we're beginning to get players back. Last week I think was, apart from Nathan Agard and Maxwell Corney, last week was probably the closest we've had to having a sort of full squad available to us. So I think when we get that, we're a good team, and I think we'll get better as the season goes on.
Thank you.
Son.
With Jarrod, is there lessons to be learned in terms of the summer pre-season? Because it was his first summer really as an international player, and his season carries on.
Yeah.
Is there something to learn?
I think there is. I mean, the year before, Simon, I'd said to Jarrod, and we'd actually quite a short break, we were after the Jarrod had said he'd gone home back to Hereford to be with his family, and I said, what were you doing? He says, I just went running. He says, I was running the potato fields and I was running all over in Hereford, and he come back in incredible looking condition, and he went on, he started the season great, and actually in the end, it probably his form from January onwards, we needed his goals. So I actually think he got himself in such a good physical condition, he was ready to start. I think the difference was probably the length of the season away with the international team. Then you're saying you need a break, and I think it's probably, which he did do, I think it's just taking time for him to get up and run again. But I can only, and I'm not obviously putting it, but I just think of the season before, after England were in the final of the European Championship. Harry Kane had a slow start to the season, but then went on to be fantastic in the second half of the season, and it was probably because of fatigue, the games, maybe not quite enough recovery time. So I'm hoping Jarrod's a little bit the same, but I'm beginning to see good signs from Jarrod now.
I mean, obviously he's a player of high potential, and he's made a lot of progress under you since he's arrived at the club. I guess he's looking at the World Cup, but there's a development within a player as they grow through the levels, isn't there?
I do, and I think that Jarrod has started to show, I think everybody who's watched it would now see Jarrod's development. You can nearly see an improvement in him when he came. His technical part of his game's getting better. He actually looks faster and quicker now than he's been. He's understanding a lot more tactically what his roles have to do. But strange enough, I see Jarrod, if you look at all the best, I'm going to call them wingers, and it might not be quite the right terminology. If you think of all the best wingers over the years, when you had Ronaldo's and you had Messi's, and nearly all of them ended up becoming centre forwards and goal scorers. And I think Jarrod's, is going towards that as his career's going on, and getting more towards maybe becoming more of a forward player who wants to score. And if you look at his goals last year, to be fair, his goals every year, if you look at his goals at Hereford over 2-3 years, you would say he's a really good goal scoring record, and for us he's been pretty consistent as well.
And as an individual, what's he like? Does he take on board what he's saying? Because obviously you've seen that.
He's a really good boy to work with. Wants to listen, wants to watch his clips back, wants to do the debriefs, wants to see what he could improve on, wants to look at his runs, wants to look, what he could do better. He's a really diligent boy in trying to improve his game, and I think if you looked at him, you would say that's you can see that over the last 2-3 years, he's certainly improved his game, and I said to him, I think if he scores 5-6 goals before now in the World Cup, he'll have a chance of going to the World Cup, and I think he's given himself a real chance at the moment because he's getting some goals and his form's improving greatly.
Is that 5 or 6 goals from now, or 5 or 6 games?
Well, I said 5 or 6 goals from them because it's not an easy thing to do, so he's got a couple of goals already, so let's hope that he can keep it going.